pattern. So we'll see if this time, given the challenge.
어느 때보다 뜨거운 국민적 관심이 쏠렸던 이번 대선이었습니다. 그런데 이번 대선에 주목한 것은 비단 한국뿐만이 아니었습니다. BBC, CBC, 뉴욕타임스 등 세계 각국의 주요 매체는 대선이 끝난 직후 당선자를 속보로 전했으며 한국의 미래가 바뀔 분기점이라 대서특필하기도 했는데요. 미국 MBC는 한국 민주주의의 저력을 보여준 선거로 한국 정치가 드라마를 넘어선 현실 쇼가 됐다고 보도했고, 영국 BBC는 대한민국의 미래뿐 아니라 아시아의 힘의 균형에 중대한 영향을 미칠 결과라고 분석했습니다. 뉴욕타임스는 당선자의 이력과 발언을 조명하며 그 누구도 예상 못한 반전의 승리라고 표현했죠. 반대로 일본 언론은 말 그대로 긴장을 감추지 못했습니다. 한일 관계는 어디로라는 제목의 긴급 특집이 방송됐고, 중국 관영 매체는 한국이 또 한 번 예측 불허의 길로 들어섰다며 불편한 속내를 드러내는 모습이었는데요. 이번 대선 결과의 의미와 향후 한국의 모습에 대해 심도 깊게 분석한 특집 방송을 지금부터 전해드립니다.
On what has been its most turbulent time since democracy was installed there, an election this Tuesday looks like becoming a landslide victory for the Democratic Party. The new president would be Lee Jae-myung. What would his agenda be? Where could he take South Korea? Will he be able to bring stability to what is very much a East Asian economic powerhouse, plunged into doubt and confusion of the moment that South Korea is at right now? Where do you think this could lead? What do you think will happen next, basically?
I'm sure more than half of population, they're very happy. And he also declared sort of address before the clear announcement of presidential election. He said, even if those who did not vote for me, we should gather together. This is time to consolidate the entire people for the nation.
And that is, I mean, clearly the things that he's saying from a political perspective, Young-mi, are interesting. I mean, to turn around and say, my life was saved by the people of Korea and I will continue to work to help them. It's something that many politicians wouldn't come out with. Does he mean that, or is it just political speak? What's your sense of that?
I think he's quite devoted politician. He has built up his political career working for Seongnam City and then later Gyeonggi, and as an outsider from the Democratic Party.
Next, Associate Professor at the Japan-Korea Programme at the University of Cambridge. What kind of a moment do you think South Korea is at right now?
I would say it's a pivotal moment. The campaign was very divisive, and the country has been sharply polarized because of the debate amongst ordinary Korean citizens about the nature of martial law, that really surprising announcement in early December, by former President Yoon. The challenge for the new president is really how to bring the country back together. Having said that, he's got a very clear mandate. He's also in a very strong position politically, because not only has he won the presidency with, if you believe the exit polls, by a pretty clear margin of about 10% or more, but he also has his own party, the Democratic Party, in a very strong position in the National Assembly, holding about 2/3 of the seats in the parliament. And that gives him a really unique opportunity to try and govern effectively without really any credible opposition. It has to be said also that the PPP, the main Conservative Party, the People's Power Party, is really, I think, going to enter a period of real soul-searching now, having lost this election, having been so closely associated with former President Yoon. How do they reassert themselves? So he'll have quite a long honeymoon, I think, to begin with.
Studies. Sydney, thanks for your patience. I know you've got much to say. John was reminding us about what happened in the declaration of martial law. I mean, clearly what that did in so many ways was create a massive division within Korean society, did it not? Becoming more and more divided, I think, on every level if we look at what goes on around us in each country that we live in. And South Korea, of course, is no exception. There must be problems there. And you've hinted at the fact that it may be very difficult for President Lee to actually bring the country together in a meaningful way to take it forward.
Like you said, leaders across the world are having to face this challenge of the extreme polarization of the political environment, particularly in the world of YouTube, social media, all these tools by which people can have their hatred and their concerns and their paranoia and their conspiracy theories all fed. And I think that's where we are with Republic of Korea. I've been following Korea for some 40 years, living there 17 years, watching transitions from conservatives to progressives, progressives back to conservatives. And I think what's different this time is this impact of the media, this disinformation, this malign public influencing, and again, it allows for these forces to kind of stay apart from each other and not seek reconciliation, but rather confirmation of the prejudices. And so this is going to be a big challenge for President Lee, and we'll be able to see if he's got that presidential material. People are touting him as a pragmatist on foreign policy, on China, on North Korea, and even on economic issues. Somebody who can come to the center. Somebody who's got experience, as mentioned earlier, mayor of a big city just next to Seoul, and then provincial governor of the province that includes Seoul, at least geographically. So he's got the experience. He won an election in a very volatile time. I think he may be well positioned. Of course, the Court of Domestic Opinion, at least, will be watching closely to see whether he's able to really find a way to begin to reconcile with the conservatives.
Indeed, Sydney, for now, thank you very much indeed of its relationship, not just with the North, not just with China, not just with the other countries in Asia, but beyond. It's a world marketplace. I mean, South Korea, of course, via its key companies, is very much a player in all markets across the world.
Yes, absolutely. So maybe starting with Japan, because that's my sort of area of expertise. And Japan's been watching the elections in South Korea very carefully. It always is a tricky moment for Japan who the South Korean president will be. So if we go back a little bit, before Yoon was Moon Jae-in between 2017 and 2022, when he was a left-wing president. And relations were difficult with Japan then over comfort women, over and just questioning agreements that had been made by his left. They tend to expect things to be a bit difficult, but precisely they anticipated somewhat. Broader context goes, I mean, things are so unpredictable with Donald Trump's presidency. It's hard to really say beyond that. I mean, I think Lee's interest would be to really make sure that things go relatively smoothly with the United States, and perhaps move out of that traditional pattern of neglecting relations with Japan, and whilst improving relations with North Korea or China, and also.
이처럼 전 세계의 시선이 한국 대선에 집중된 이유는 단순한 정치 이벤트가 아닌 동아시아 질서 변화 가능성이 걸려있기 때문입니다. 무엇보다 한국뿐만 아니라 해외에서도 국민 통합에 주목하고 있다는 부분이 인상적으로 다가오는데요. 여러분께서는 오늘 영상 어떻게 보셨는지요? 이번 영상도 흥미로우셨다면 좋아요와 구독 부탁드리겠습니다. 항상 함께 해주시는 구독자, 시청자 여러분 감사합니다.